You've probably seen movies where men are caught in similar circumstances. Whereas he makes every effort to escape alive, it is impossible. At least in this game, they are aware of what must be done in order to rescue themselves. But in the tale we'll share with you today, a girl becomes stranded in a little tunnel. Now that he had to scramble out, he was wondering why the poor woman had been imprisoned and what would happen to her. In today's video, we'll learn whether she'll be able to escape or whether she'll perish there. At the beginning of the film, we see a girl there. Called Lisa. Lisa attempts to take her own life by slipping beneath the automobile while she is by herself on a deserted road. But for him, dying was just as challenging as living. At first, Lisa accepts the offer of a ride from a passing motorist who discovers her alone on a deserted road. But only one car had passed in the previous several hours, so he reasoned that it was time to move on. The individual identifies himself as Adam. He spoke with a thick accent and in an extremely somber manner, as if he were a police officer. But in truth, he worked as a janitor. Here, we learn that Lisa's daughter celebrates her birthday today. The same anguish just couldn't be carried by Lisa, who passed away many years ago. Because of this, she made suicide attempts frequently. To pass the time, Lisa switches on the radio in the car. However, when he heard emergency news on the radio, he felt as though the ground had given way beneath him. It was reported that he had fled the scene after killing 2 girls and had a cross tattooed on his hand to help identify him. Adam is seated next to a serial killer, according to Lisa, who notes that he has a tattoo similar to hers on his arm. Before Lisa can react, Adam slams on the brakes, sending her hurtling into the sour steering wheel while she appears to be asleep. But in this instance, she was still alive. Shortly after regaining consciousness, she discovered herself confined to a tiny chamber. Where it was not even enough room to stand up straight. The thing that will cause Lisa's death is something that looked like handcuffs on her hands with a yellow light coming out of it. There isn't a door, so Lisa searches the area for an exit. You must be aware of how little this location is, but it is nothing compared to the remaining distance, which must be covered by crawling. With all due respect, Lisa had sat down when suddenly a tiny door appeared in front of her. She looked inside and could see right through to the exit. She moves ahead in this hope, but as soon as she enters, the door closes behind her, despite her hopes that she will eject yourself. But then another door closes in front of her, and Lisa will no longer be able to go as quickly. The passageway adjacent to the door was so tiny that Lisa had to squeeze through it by crawling between the 2 walls. Lisa was restrained for 11 minutes. One issue is that since she was dangling in that location and a timer was visible from above, it was obvious that after 11 minutes something was going to go wrong. Nevertheless, Lisa understood she had to continue pushing forward. She arrives at another tunnel with bright lights all around. However, despite this place's beauty, it was actually very bad. There, the walls begin to converge on one another. However, Lisa anticipates it, which allows her to overcome challenges without being crushed. And as he continues on, he notices one final thing: he too was wearing bracelets similar to Lisa's. This implies that at some point in the past, he too must have fallen involved in this game, which is why he is now this way. He is forced to move the corpse out of the way by Lisa. Even though Lisa was repulsed by him, she refrained from touching him. One gate closes as you proceed. His shackles glow red, and something that resembles a laser is emerging from the tunnel. When Lisa notices a tiny room opening behind her, she jumps backward and steps inside. A glass door also locks her in. She is seen being thrown into a flaming tube. Lisa's time was up, so the fire grew. Lisa was in the chamber, which rescued her. And her time increases once more to 11 minutes. Lisa didn't want to leave that place. But as soon as it exits, that chamber immediately closes, and the walls begin to contract once more. Lisa thought she would be killed right here this time, yet shrinking only served to shorten her journey, not to harm her. Now that her bravery has paid off, Lisa begins to sob vehemently. Anyone will accept everything, so why not cry in such a terrible location, Lisa reasons as she somehow musters the fortitude to proceed. And she gains more. Her head was upside down, but she managed to collect the water and begin drinking it with the aid of her hands. The only option was to dive into that body of water. She enters while holding her breath and proceeds to another tunnel by a different route. After a while, there is calm before a large amount of water begins to accumulate there. A body also follows it, but Lisa manages to swim away from it because she knew she would be killed if she stopped anywhere. After so much time spent crawling, her body was stiff. Lisa noticed a whale coming from somewhere. At least she follows his voice, let's find someone who is still living here. However, in her rush, she narrowly avoids falling into an acid-filled tub and continues on, leaning on the channel's banks for support. But when his foot comes into contact with the acid, his foot's flesh is burned. Moving forward, Lisa notices a man in front of her who had enormous hair and appeared to have been playing this game for several months. He was slightly in the right, but he had become insane, so the influence of this incident was obviously visible on his mind. Lisa informs him that we are being experimented on like rats by whoever locked us inside. But if we work together, we may leave this place as soon as the man continues to pay attention to her. Prior to that chamber being reopened in front of both, they both knew each other. That there is only room for one individual in that chamber and that he will start burning again in the tunnel. Because of this, they both begin scurrying to enter it first, much like a man exits a chamber after entering and leaving it. His hand is sliced off as it gets trapped in the door while he is attempting to enter. Lisa realizes that the cross mark on her hand matches the cross mark on Adam's hand, proving that the man was in fact Adam. Adam burns to death in this place after his time is up, and a robot then appears in front of Lisa. Lisa's wounds are attended to by the person whose head was fashioned of human flesh. Lisa confesses to wanting to pass away. The robot, however, takes her back in time to the time Adam attacked him at the tax a few months prior. Lisa managed to escape him, but suddenly something, or perhaps aliens, captured them both. He is also the one who is responsible for creating the entire game and, for some reason, does not want Lisa to perish in it. The fact that they attempted to kill him is a different situation. Before she can comprehend anything, she notices the symbols of a diamond and a cross on Adam's hand. Lisa crawls away as a rotating blade approaches her. You all must be wondering what is going on at this point, since even after all of this, he had no intention of quitting. Given that the man who perished in the fire some time ago, we have a feeling Lisa must be thinking the same thing. Because he doesn't want Lisa to return alive, he chases her again while she is still half alive. Lisa runs away from him, comes to a room that is very bright, as if all of the tunnel's lights have been set there, and this is the room where Lisa sees herself. Means the photos from his early life, but what was remarkable was that only he knew. Who was filming his childhood recollections here, and what did he observe there? We also learn that Lisa's daughter died after jumping out of a window, which she always blamed herself for because his daughter did not know she would fall down and kill her. The solution is fairly straightforward. Aliens were doing all of this. Adam had arrived there as he was pursuing her. In front of Lisa there are two ways, but there wasn't much time to think, and her time was running out. She notices that there is a lot of barbed wire and decides to take action to protect herself. Therefore, he had to cross them. His body was being scratched by those thorns. His skin had completely ripped off in several spots. But alas, time is running out, and even though she felt like killing just then, she only managed to flee the flames in time to fall. Lisa had finally arrived at her starting point when she ran out of bravery. She is seriously bleeding. Lisa copies the mark on Adam's hand that she noticed on the wall, so that if not him, then at least someone else can escape this hazardous situation. That robot returns to him in that location. Lisa requests him to stop as he was ready to treat her wounds. She is at her senses' end. When Lisa asked, the robot was about to inject her with poison. However, Lisa notices her scar and he came to understand that it wasn't a typical tattoo but rather a route out of that place. Left, right, up, and down were written in the direction in the hopes that it would be the exit. Lisa begins moving forward once more, this time effortlessly navigating all the barriers. Lisa melts her handcuffs when she comes across a tub of acid, whether it be fire or water. Additionally, it develops hand marks that were in Adam's hands, but they are unsure of where Adam will begin chasing it next. Due to his diminutive stature, he approached her quickly. But this time Lisa made up her mind and flung him down another tunnel after removing the restraints. Adam began to follow the light that was coming from it as it moved in the right direction on its own. Lisa discovers the strangest tunnel she has ever seen as she continues on. It was entirely built of TT and lacked any high-tech walls. When Lisa notices these creatures, or perhaps aliens, she no longer feels threatened and instead tries to interact with them by caressing them. Even though it was evident that Adam had brought him there, he goes ahead and locates his handcuffs. Lisa tries to approach him covertly, but Adam stalks her once more as a result of the alert she installed. Lisa begins to return to the chamber because the allotted time has passed. She arrived this time ahead of Adam. Let's finally get out of trouble, Lisa thought. Although he has already experienced something positive, which will continue to occur even after the time is up, he is not aware of the fire in the tunnel. Lisa murders Adam by stomping on his head with her feet as he attacks her again. At least it's finished, Lisa continues, noting that this was the final tunnel she had to pass. After that, he was waiting under the open sky when he heard the voice of his daughter. Stop, this time she was also in reach. Lisa is told to come along with me so we may be together, but Lisa realizes she is telling the truth. Whom she spent so much time evading that her daughter has since passed away. The other side of the tunnel is where she lives in reality. She turns away from her daughter and begins to move in the correct direction. Although Lisa puts away her handcuffs, she still has the hardest obstacle to overcome. 3 extremely sharp cutting blades were moving forward. The first blade fell in 4 seconds, the second in 3, and the third in only 2. Lisa somehow crosses first and second. However, the third one will succeed. She runs away as soon as she crosses the blade with only a partially cut body. Lisa is severely harmed as one of his feet unfortunately gets stuck underneath the blade. By the time she arrived here, her body had already suffered significant damage, but she had the impression that she would soon go. But it doesn't, because what she mistakenly believed to be the white sky for so long was actually only an LED display. Furthermore, there was truly no way out. Even as Lisa begins to start crying openly, she consoles herself at the conclusion. At least she tried and made it this far. As soon as she stated that, a ton of light began to suddenly pour in the passage. After a sudden burst of blinding light, Lisa's body starts to soar through the air and she suddenly finds herself at the base of a waterfall. She thought she was free now, but as I watch, my daughter Lisa asks if she had been killed, to which the woman's daughter replies that although her body had been killed numerous times, she had always been reborn, so there was no need in continuing to do so at this point. They're both at a stunning location that isn't even on our planet, so this may possibly be a reward of some kind. To navigate all of the tunnels that the aliens provided him, as we did saw aliens. There are tunnels. In any case, they are fully informed about Lisa, and the film finishes there. I sincerely hope you enjoy this film. Thank you for watching. Please leave a comment and do a like and subscribe.